Back to more Horsing Around with Mutton Bustin' Mac and Lassoing Lois. It's Houston's Morning News, live from Rodeo, Houston.
Great to have you listening this morning. It is 7:16, Houston's Morning News. Joining me right now, Sheriff Joe Arpaio and Mike Zullo. Mike is the lead investigator in Sheriff Joe's cold case posse. Gentlemen, welcome. Sheriff, let me start with you. It was a Tea Party that brought to your attention the fact that they believed that there were some inconsistencies in this birth certificate, but haven't we heard this before?
Yeah, you hear it many times, so let's get to the investigation. Let's do something about it instead of many people that have their own opinions. I'm a law enforcement agency. We're the only ones that I can think of that really took this on and initiated an investigation. It doesn't matter it was the Tea Party. It just so happened that group came to me. It could have been anyone coming to me, and I would have done the same thing.
Now, Mike, you were the lead investigator of Sheriff's cold case posse. What was it that you set out to do? I understand that you really, you never really intended to prove this to be so one way or the other, but you came across some interesting things as you were taking a look at this.
Well, and Mike had to go into a television interview. This is Jerry Corsi.
Oh, hey, Jerry. Thanks.
I'm the reporter with WND, and I was with the Tea Party group that came to see the sheriff, and I worked with Posse. I can tell you, having worked with Mike, that when I did the first interview with the Posse, sharing information, the Posse was quite skeptical. Mike Zulu himself didn't know why he had to do this investigation, and really set out to prove that the president's birth certificate was authentic. And I think that's where really all the Posse members were. Through the course of the investigation, and I presented my evidence to work with the Posse, but they corroborated evidence. 90% of the time I was not internally with them. Over time they saw evidence. I think what changed their mind was the forensic evidence and other evidence seeing that the birth certificate was a fraud and the Selective Service registration card. And the facts and the hard evidence they were producing is what changed their mind.
Now, Sheriff Joe Arpaio joining us here this morning. Sheriff, you certainly are no stranger to the White House, stranger to the Obama administration. You're dealing with them with your own personal issues. Do they think that maybe this is your way of getting back at them? Do they see this as you tweaking them in the nose?
Well, I'll tell you what, I've been a federal top law enforcement official with the Justice Department. I know how they operate. Anybody would say, in your right mind, Sheriff, just hide. Why do you want to agitate that?
Right.
They do have a little money and power. No, it has nothing to do with that. I'm just doing what I should be doing as the elected sheriff. We looked into it. Now we have the White House, or actually this is the campaign Democratic Party, referring me to the X-Files. They don't think, in the newspapers locally, this is just garbage, another conspiracy theory. Why don't they look at the facts? Where's the national television exposure on TV? They don't want to look into this, and that's the sad. We're going to continue investigating this matter, and I'm going to have to make a big decision where to send some of the information in order to get some help. I would presume that would be Hawaii. So I'll make that decision pretty quick. Nobody wants to touch this.
Right.
Even the politicians don't even want to make a remark on it. Isn't that sad?
Yes, it is sad, and I'm a big fan, Joe. I just want you to know. All right, Sheriff Joe Arpaio joining us. Also, Jerry from who was also one of the investigators, one of the cold case posse investigators. Hang on, guys. When we come back, I want to ask you what this all means. What it could all mean if, in fact, any of it is true. Joining me right now, Sheriff Joe Arpaio and also Jerry Corsi from WND.com. Gentlemen, I want to thank you both for joining me. Sheriff, tell me what this means. If any of this is true, what does this mean?
I'll tell you, I'm not accusing the president of any crime, but if it's true, you got forgery and fraud, the violation of law. No matter who the person is, their person, action should be taken. That's just how law enforcement and the criminal justice system is supposed to operate. but why isn't anyone very interested? It's all is forget about it, forget about it. We're not going to forget about it. We have evidence, and someone should look into it. And I don't have jurisdiction. In a way, I do have jurisdiction because this does affect my county. You talked about using the internet and the airways to get this birth certificate out in the public. So it does pertain to.
Jerry, thank you, Sheriff. Jerry, let me ask you this. Is there anything new here that you've uncovered that wasn't looked at before in the previous investigations into this?
Well, yes, I had been working on this for more than 3 years. I wrote a book called Where's the Birth Certificate? Quite frankly, the sheriff's posse, with law enforcement authority and procedures, have come up with new information altogether. All the discussion of the selective service registration card being forged was brand new. And then the investigation into the passenger airplane records coming into Hawaii, being this critical week, the week of the president's birth, all the records were missing out of the archives. That was something that only the law enforcement efforts of Sheriff Arpaio's posse were able to accomplish. So it was far beyond the efforts of what I had achieved that the sheriff uncovered brand new information.
And Sheriff, is the Social Security number also suspect as well?
Well, I'm not going to get into that. Right now, we went public on a couple of situations on the possible forgery.
But you've got some other things, I understand, that you have not revealed that you're holding back.
But we don't want to reveal it right now. We just went public on facts, hoping that the media would look at the facts, not all the politics and garbage that they put out, like conspiracy, and I'm doing this for other reasons. Makes you a little agitated, but you can show the power of the office of the president.
Sheriff Joe Arpaio, I want to thank you again for joining us here this morning on Houston's Morning News. Jerry Corsi, I have read the book. I appreciate all of the work that you put in at WND.com. You do some great work there. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for joining us here.